Today's video is about AccountScout version 2018, which is an upgrade to our AccountScout product. As a reminder, you can always view what's new in this upgrade, as well as any other upgrades, by simply clicking Help and selecting What's New from AccountScout. This will pull up a PDF of the documentation showing any changes we've made in this release or any other release going all the way back to about 2015. Now I'm going to walk you through the new features that we've added in AccountScout version 2018. The first thing is the Activity Manager tool. This is essentially a dashboard that shows all activities in the system for a user or for yourself, and it's typically used by a manager. We also added an append timestamp button to the Activity Manager, as well as a few other notes-taking capabilities. The next thing is the ability to run manifest reports with both a date and a time. And finally, a new report, which shows how much space is necessary at deadline. So let's get to it. The Activity Manager tool is available on the Tools menu here, Activity Manager. So I'm going to maximize it now. This is a dashboard that shows activities for all the users in the system, or for yourself, or the activities that you have access to. Again, this is typically run by a manager or someone who monitors and assigns activities and just makes sure that things are generally getting done. At the top here, we show how many activities are open for this date period. In this example, there are 12 open and 1 closed for an 8% closed activity rate. We have a refresh button, and next to the refresh button, a create new activity button, which is just a quick convenience for you to quickly create a new activity. But let's look at the activity screen itself. The top grid here shows the open activities, while the bottom grid shows the closed activities. We can hide or open any of these panes by clicking on the arrows. For now, I'm going to hide the closed activities. So I'm going to click on this first open activity on the list with the advertiser Bassmaster, and on the right-hand side panel, this tool will show the title and description of the activity. I'm just going to step down the list and notice how the panel on the right updates for each activity. This makes it easy for you to just step through all of the activities for the day or for the week and see any notes or updates that they may have. Up at the top, we have date period buttons, similar to the dashboard on the main executive screen. We can look at all the activities up to today. The ones that are assigned to me are displayed in red, but if you'd like, you can turn that on or off by clicking here. So we can look at all the activities only for today, the week, the month, the year. But let's say we want to look at next week's activities. We can click on the custom box here and say next week and see next week's activities. Then when we click away, it'll refresh. So I'm going to go back to looking at some activities for this week, and let me show you how we can do some filters. So let's first filter by who an activity is assigned to. So we'll click on status here, and we can look at the opens based on who the activity is assigned to. And let's set another one on status and maybe see which activities are open. Or maybe I want to filter based on follow-ups. So I can filter based on type and click away and click this year, for example, and this will give me some phone calls for the year that I was supposed to make. Notice also how the text at the top here changes to yellow when you set a filter on that thing. I also want to note that you can set this tool up on another monitor. So if you're a supervisor and have multiple monitors on your desk, you can drag this off to another monitor and it'll refresh every 5 minutes to keep your activities up to date. Or maybe you're working and people are assigning activities to you, and you want to be able to automatically have them show up on your screen as well. In this case, you can have it refresh every minute, and the tool will automatically go out and check for new activities each minute and refresh the screen. So now I'm going to clear all of our filters and then select an activity here. And if you notice on the right, I can't edit the notes in the activity screen, but I can double click on it and edit the notes down here and add notes or change the ones that are already there for this activity. And one of the new features that we added in this upgrade is this append timestamp button, which will add the user I'm logged in as well as the time. And then I could add notes to this activity. So for example, you might ask them if they would like to increase their ad size. So you can always click on this append timestamp to add any notes. Otherwise, if you're feeling like an AccountScout whiz, you can click Control D when you're anywhere on the screen, and it'll automatically append the timestamp, and you could just start typing right away. So now I'm going to save my changes, and let's say that one of these activities are completed. So I'm going to go back to one of these and mark it as complete. So the status should be as done. And you'll notice how when I click save, it automatically pre-fills the end time to the time that I marked it as done and hit save. So let's move on to the next thing we've added in this release, in our manifest reporting. So every once in a while we have a scenario where we want to run a retail manifest and then run it again later, only showing the changes. So I'm going to pull up this report that I ran on 4/4. And there are times where you might say, I ran this report on April 2nd, and I ran it at 1 p.m. So I'm going to type in April 2nd, 1 p.m. And I only want to look for changes after 1 p.m. So I want to look at anything that's been modified since 4/2 at 1 p.m. Or maybe created after 4/2 at 1 p.m. So if anybody added anything after deadline, they'll show up here. We added this time component on various reports. Now if we click on the run date for the second filter, the time component isn't pertinent, so it won't be showing up. It only shows up for date last created or date last modified. Another small thing we added is if we search here for email address, it will search both contacts and advertisers for that particular email address now. So oftentimes you get an email from someone, they reply to an electronic statement or invoice that's been emailed to them, and you don't know who they are. And this way you can just search for them and double click on either the contact or the advertiser to find them right away. And finally, we do have one new report, the 4/3/12 report. Let's run this again for 4/4. Now, this report is geared towards knowing how much space is necessary for a particular publication on a particular issue date. And it will roll up, so at the highest level, we can see that we have 9.5 inches, but then at the lower classification levels, you can see we have less. So you can see the levels of how much space is necessary at deadline. And that sums it up for this video. These are some of the new features we've added to AccountScout 2018. There's a lot more, so go ahead and read the What's New document to see everything else, or give us a call or email with any questions.